Hello and welcome to the Super Sunday F1 Championship in the Formula Racing League. Tom Cairns will be in the commentary position. That will be me, of course. And I'll be calling out the details and providing you with the updates you need as the next couple of hours goes on. We'll begin with qualifying, Q1, Q2 and Q3 it is. And then we have the race later on. That will be 50% race distance. So a 28 lap race. Q1 is about to commence. Now, from what I've been told, there are 16 drivers involved in the lobby, so it could be perhaps we lose the slowest three from the first part and then the next slowest three in Q2 before the pole position shootout between those in the top 10. So just waiting for some drivers to make their way out onto the circuit. Dixon saying hello, the championship leader who's won 9 out of 12 races so far this season. The championship looking ever nearer to being achieved. And looking at the driver standings, Dixon's 94 points clear of everyone else. So he's got a good opportunity to extend that, to put himself within touching distance of that crown, which could be sealed within the next 5 or 4 races even. Dixon is making his way out onto the circuit now, but he's not the first one to head out on track. Night Shadow is the first one. It's a lovely scene here in Abu Dhabi. This is the Yas Marina circuit that was built back in 2009 in time for the Formula 1 season finale of that year. Has hosted a Grand Prix in every season since. It's also scheduled to be hosting the season finale for the 2021 season on the 12th of December, which is most certainly a late date for some. And we are expecting a dry qualifying and race as well, which is no surprise given the climate in Abu Dhabi. And good luck to everyone as well. Wishing you all the best. Now the podium finishes the last time. Dixon, who won in Vietnam. Santi second, Very in third. Big Balls Bells was fourth ahead of Harry in fifth place. Luna Ascari picking up 8 championship points for 6th position. Then it's Statistic King, Exotic Alpha, Liverpool Fan, and Jay Hartnell. As you can see, Night Shadow coming back into the pits very quickly. He was revving so much there, not sure why he needed to do that. Dixon's carrying on though. He's the first driver to start a flying lap, so we get an opportunity to take you on a tour around this Yas Marina island. So Dixon coming to the first proper chicane of the lap. Important to nail the apexes, then takes a wide line into what looks like turn 7. And we've got the long first back straight that you use DRS for. Next in turns 8, 9 and then through 10. The second DRS opening. Takes a very wide line to take the shorter distance around that part of the racetrack. Into the sort of slalom chicane, you want to put it, through turns 11, 12 and 13. 14 is next. But he's just invalidated the lap there and he'll have to go again. It's a shame because that would have been a good time. Scrace is on a lap though in the AlphaTauri. Let's see if he nails turns 17, 18 and 19 very well. 17 was fine, 18 was okay. Takes a sharper line through 19 and a wide line. Then we've got turns 20 and 21 coming up to finish off the lap. Cautious entry through 21, and it's a 34.3 for the AlphaTauri. We've got a Renault crossing over the line as well. That'll be Safdar, who's just beginning to start a lap. Hayden going second fastest on a 35.0. Santi's just joined as well. And we've got another driver crossing the line. That's the driver R28. Going third temporarily on a 35.1. Being to it by Very, though, who posts the fastest time so far. It's a 33.9. So we're starting to see some very fast times, even at this phase of qualifying. And the next driver to cross over the line, it's one of the Alfa Romeos. It's Lepi, the Hungarian, who will be looking to get a place in Q3. No, Lepi didn't finish last time out, but the race before in Azerbaijan, he did finish in 5th place. In regards to the championship, Lepi is on 11 points in 14th position. I would assume he's not done as many starts as others. Posts not a very quick time of 35.4 in comparison to a lot of the other field. Dixon's gone another lap. He's posted a 33.4 in the Mercedes. Safdar has had his lap invalidated, so he'll need to go again, as will Harry. Statistic King is the next driver to cross over the line with a legal lap time, unless the driver and Lepi have something up their sleeves now. They're going straight into the pits, so we'll go back to Statistic King. Statistic King saying, I'm going in the wall. No, you're not, mate. Coming through 21, it'll be a 35.6. That puts him slowest of all those who have set a time thus far. Got a Red Bull who's just coming through. I think that's Harry just prepping for the start of another lap time. He's gone over the runoff area. That's a really silly thing to do, to be honest with you. And now he has to go round again to start another lap. Safdar is okay on this lap though, just getting past an Alfa Romeo who moves offline and out of the way of the Renault. Safdar coming through turns 11, 12 and 13. 14 not so bad, just keeps the car within the confinements of the curbs. A Night Shadow looks to have exited from qualifying, so he'll be knocked out. Oh, and Safdar goes into the wall. No, I think he just got away without damage there, but that won't do the car any good while riding over the curbs like that. He's coming through turn 21 now. And it's going to be a 35.1, but he did lose time on the exit of turn 17. And Berry's retired from the session as well. He's confident that he'll make it through. Dixon also out. He's done enough for Q1. So should Night Shadow... Now the thing is, if you do retire from the session, that's fine, but if you crash out on circuit, you will not take any further part in qualifying. And Hayden's just got in touch with me saying, hey, Knight has a quali ban for taking him out at Vietnam. Thank you for informing me. Yes, because Night Shadow was deemed responsible for an incident in the last race at Vietnam where he seems to have cut across on Hayden on the back straight, which sent him into the wall and out of the race. So Night Shadow's session is over already. He won't be taking any further part. He'll be starting at the back of the grid. Santi on a fast lap in the Haas. It'll be a 35.5 that puts him 8th. We've got an Alfa Romeo crossing over the line, I think. Oh, that's Lepi. In fact, he's got damage to his front wing as well, so he'll need to come back into the pits. And a Racing Point's going over the line. It's Big Balls Bowles. And he posts a 34.1 that puts him 3rd. And we've got one of the McLarens crossing over the line. It's Luna Ascari. And she goes up to 6th on a 35.0. And Liverpool Fan is next over the line in the Racing Point. He posts a 35.0, just goes in front of Ascari by 0.006 of a second. And we've got Jay Hartnell, who's also, well, he was on a lap, but he's had that lap invalidated, so we'll go back to Cavu, who's next up. One of the last-minute replacements. And from what I've been told, that's a Liverpool Fan will be banned from Q3 for blocking Hayden's flying lap in qualifying at the last meeting in Vietnam last week. Although there was no actual block, the dirty air off the Racing Point will have affected the Mercedes, hence why Liverpool Fan got that ban. But back to the action. Look, Cavu's gone 8 fastest on a 35.0, so we've got 4 drivers, in fact, on 35.0s. Jay Hartnell on a flying lap, who's just coming towards the second time beam. It's 57.1 for him. Safdar is out of qualifying. Now, where is he stopped in? I think he may have stopped in the pit lane, actually, as Safdar. Clearly is confident of getting through, as is Big Balls Bells. So Jay Hartnell in the drop zone in 16th. Now, with there only being 16 drivers, I'm not sure how many drivers will be eliminated at the end of Q1. I would think there's only going to be 1, but it could be 2 or 3. That's something that the hosts or any drivers can inform me with. Jay Hartnell goes up to 5th on a 34.9, so he goes ahead of those group of drivers who have set 35.0s. Harry's next up in the Red Bull, who's yet to post a time. Harry's coming through now to at least get a lap on the board. And close to a win in Azerbaijan 2 races ago. And his time is going to be a 34.3. That puts him 4th. Now that should see him through. It's a very fast lap time. I think that Statistic King will improve on his effort earlier on. So Statistic King is coming through. Beer is retired from the session as well, as is Liverpool Fan. Statistic King, I think, is just going to try and improve his time as some form of practice for later on. Over 4 minutes remaining in this first part of qualifying. Statistic King coming around turns 20 and 21. It's going to be a 34.9 for him. Goes in front of Jay Hartnell into 6th. The driver is also on a flying lap. So at least it seems as though Night Shadow is going to be the only driver to be eliminated from the first part of qualifying. I think those who are in the pits will be retiring from the session, which will help end the session. And I think the R28 has lap time invalidated. Santi is on a better lap than before. And it's going to be a 57.4, nearly 4 tenths up from his previous best, so he is on course to go into the 35.1s. Could even sneak into a 35.0, which 4 drivers currently have. So you can see more and more drivers retiring from the session now. So they know that they are aware of Night Shadow's quali ban. But Santi is crossing over the line to post a 34.8. Goes ahead of Statistic King into 6th. Hayden, I think, will be looking to come back into the pits very, very soon. Then Rascaria also retiring, so I think the drivers are aware that the sooner they all retire, the sooner Q2 can get underway. But Hayden's still out there, as is Santi, who got the driver, R28, coming around to well, I think he's coming back into the pits actually. We've got 1 minute to go in Q1. And so we wait for confirmation of Night Shadow's exit, and then Q2 should begin from there. Hayden carrying on in the Mercedes. And he'll post a 35.2, which is not as quick as before. And so he stays 9th fastest. Do feel free to get in touch with us. We are interested in taking some questions. Let us know how your weekend's been. You can talk about the Grand Prix, you can talk about the final day of the Premier League, you could talk maybe about golf if you want to, because there's the PGA Championship that's being contested. And here is Hayden, who was just waiting. So he'll come back into the pits. I think Hayden's just trying to make his way back into the pits as soon as he can. He's aware that no one else is out on circuit. The checker flag's out. He's already made it through. Just got to make sure he does not bin the car on the way back, because if he bins the car on the way back, that will be his qualifying session over. So Hayden does. Oh, he's just carried on, really. But yeah, the qualifying session's done for Q1. We'll have confirmation of Night Shadow's exit once we see the classification. So we go all the way down, and yep, Night Shadow is the only driver to be eliminated. The top 15, or the other 15, will make it through into Q2. No drivers have picked up good penalties during that 18-minute session. So Q2 awaits us. And so we await the drivers to make their way out onto the racetrack and see which drivers will go onto the medium compound or try and qualify for the race on the mediums. I think it's going to be Dixon who will be the first driver to make his way out onto the racetrack. And so he does. Now, Hayden's saying, why didn't you allow me to retire, Tom? Did you like watching me? But it's not that I was liking watching you. It's just the problem is if you crash out on circuit, then that's your session over. And you would have been eliminated at the end of Q1, along with Night Shadow. So that's why. I mean, another option is that you could have come into the pit sooner, as you were already through at that point. So Dixon looking to qualify on the mediums. Let's see who else is on the track with the mediums. So we've got Hayden as well. We've got Harry. We've got Liverpool fan Very. The driver R28 and Big Balls Bells. So half of the field, in fact, pretty much. I'm going to try and do a first run on the medium compound. Dixon over the line to begin his first time lap on the medium compound. Looking at how many drivers we've got out on circuit, we've still got 5 drivers in the pit, so we've got 10 drivers out on circuit now. Perhaps some waiting for gaps in the traffic before they make their way out. So who's your money on for pole position? I think it's going to be hard for anyone to beat Dixon, to be honest with you. And we've got an Alfa Romeo who's gone off down at turn 3. And it's Leppy who's gone for a spin. Now, he's got to be careful not to reset the car back onto the track. He's all clear. But that won't do his tyres any good with life being taken out of them with that spin. And Dixon will go back to him, coming through turn 17. A wide line into 18, nailing the curbs. 19 is next. They've got turns 20 and 21 to round off the lap. Just about kept the car within the confinements of the racetrack. Over the line he goes, and it's a 34.1. It's not as quick as his time in Q1, obviously, because he's set the time on the mediums, but it's good enough for now. Santi going second fastest on the soft compound. Kivu third on the 36.4. It's not a very quick time from him. And Hayden going third on a 34.9. And Mascari fifth on a 36.6, so she definitely needs to improve on that. Harry third fastest on a 34.5. And we've got an AlphaTauri of Strays going second fastest on a 34.1. The Ferrari of the drivers next to cross the line is a 35.4. That's not too bad of a time, but he's over a second off Dixon's lap, but he had set on the mediums as well, so the driver will need to go again, either on another set of mediums if he's got any left, or go on to the soft compound. We've got an Alfa Romeo crossing the line. It's Lepi with his 2 minute 3. That'll be because of his spin earlier on. He may just go and do another lap. He'll probably use the lap to recharge the battery. We've got a Renault crossing the line to start a flying lap. That'll be Very. We'll have a look at Safdar, who's coming through 17, 18. He runs wide, but just kept the car within the limits of the racetrack. Got turns 20 and 21 next. Before he crosses over the line, but he's coming back into the pits. Bill also pitting. Mascari will be as well. Hayden also making his way back into the pit lane. Now Very will be to put his Renault into the top 10 here. A high 34 is the ideal time he'll be after on the mediums to put himself in the frame of qualifying or advancing into Q3 on the mediums. And it's a 34.4, so it's a low 34 for him. That's a good lap time, just a few tenths away from Dixon's lap. Lepi over the line to complete a 57.2. He's probably exceeded track limit somewhere, unless he's started a new lap now, which he is. Here's the driver, who's not finding a lot of time on this lap actually. He was nearly 3 tenths down in sector 1. He's 8 tenths down in sector 2, so he's not going to improve on that lap. Lepi looking to complete a brilliant lap time to put him ahead of Kivu and Ascari at least. Oh, Lepi going too far over the curb. I think he's exceeded track limits actually, yes he has, so that's his lap over. Same for Liverpool fan, Statistic King, looking to leave his Alfa Romeo within the track limits He's just moving out of the way actually to let Luna Ascari through, but he probably didn't realise that Luna Ascari was on an outlap. Dixon is clearly confident he'll make it through to Q3 on the mediums. Rightly so, I should think, unless the track does drastically improve. Jay Hartnell goes up to 7th on a 35.2. Liverpool fan making his way back into the pit lane. That was a late entry into there. Statistic King crosses over the line. That's a non-representative time he's posted there, so he's come back into the pits, actually does Statistic King. Hayden starting another lap in the Mercedes. Here's Ascari, who's out on her medium compound. She's got a good chance to beat her 36.6 that she'd set on the soft compound. She needs to try and be in the low 57s in sector 2. It's a 57.0. So she's on course. She's 1.2 seconds up from her previous best lap by that point. So she's most definitely on course to complete this one. Cavu is also about to cross the line in the McLaren. What is this time going to be? It's a 35.8 for him. It's quicker than before. Luna Ascari is next up. She's got a Ferrari ahead of her. We should move out the way. In fact, it's coming into the pit lane now. So Luna Ascari's got a free run to the line. And it's a 34.6. That puts her 5th ahead of Harry. I wonder how many drivers will make the switch to the soft compound for the last run of the session to book their place into Q3. Well, Cavu's on a faster lap already. He's down in 10th place. Is he going to have enough ERS on a hot lap to give himself a chance of getting through? The DRS open. You can see the ERS consuming down towards between 15 and 20%. And this is the part of the racetrack where it's very much down to the aerodynamics rather than power. Breaking into 17 he comes. Using the curb and then some. He's not taking the best lines, to be honest with you, through 2028. He's come back into the pits. That may explain it. Big Balls Bells is also out on circuit. He's yet to post a time. He's on the medium compound, so he's going to try and give himself a chance of getting through on the mediums, but this may be his last run, unless he's got enough fuel on board to do a second flying lap on those mediums. Going very wide into turn 17. Now, if I was him, I'd probably just come back into the pits and get a set of softs on. I don't see him improving. I think a lot of the other drivers are going to go back out onto the soft compound. The driver R28 on the medium compound. I'm not sure what his lap time is like so far. We've only just picked up on him. He's coming back into the pits. I think he's thinking more about going onto the soft compound. Now, I think in order to get another lap in, you need to leave the pits, I'd say 1 minute 50. So the driver's going to have to be very, very quick here if he's to get into Q3. Liverpool fan going for another run. And now Very and Hayden are confident enough to get that they're going to be through on the mediums, as is Jay Hartnell. Big Balls Bells on a flying lap in the racing point. These two are the only ones on flying laps at the moment. Scrace has also done his Q2 session, as is Harry. Now the driver at risk is Cavu in 10th place, who is the slowest of all the drivers who have done representative times. Big Balls Bells' 11th quickest is a 1 minute 44.9, which we know is not a representative time. He comes through turn 17. '18 and 19 is through fine. As you like through 20. Nicely done there, very smooth. And then through 21. Nice nailing of the apex. It's going to be a 34.34 and he goes third fastest. Cavu's in the pit, so he's out of qualifying. Liverpool fan going over the line to post a 1 minute 35.1. That puts him 9th. Now, is the driver going to get round in time? I don't think he is, you know. No, he's too far off in terms of getting through to Q3. Statistic King is on a fast lap. Well, I say he's on a fast lap. He's on a faster lap than last time. He's on a 30. He posted a 45.9 on the soft compound. Safdar is next up for Renault. I think Luna's also out on the circuit in the McLaren, but I don't feel she needs to be setting a faster time. Because the driver's already out, Cavu's already out. There's no way, it's mathematically impossible for her to be knocked out. Safdar posts a time of 36.1, but he's out of qualifying. Lepi's also out, exceeding track limits on that last run. Statistic King on a... He was 2.3 seconds faster by that point of the lap last time around when he posted his 1 minute 45.9. Not sure how quick he's going to be this time here. He goes 9th fastest on a 35.0. That pushes Jay Hartnell out of qualifying. So we have our 5 eliminated drivers. They are Jay Hartnell, the driver, Cavu, Safdar and Lepi. And Luna Ascari may as well just back off at this point because she doesn't need to improve. Likewise with Liverpool fan, I think he's coming back into the pits anyway. I think Statistic King coming out saying the admins had a meeting on the long straight. We are good. Well, I hope so anyway. Well, Luna Ascari, I'm not sure if she wants to make it through on the softs. Yeah, Luna Ascari coming back into the pits, and wisely so. She probably listened to my message. So, Jay Hartnell, the driver, Cavu, Safdar and Lepi are the drivers we lose from the second part of qualifying. Who will be going for pole in Q3. Now, the drivers who've made it through on the medians are Dixon, Big Balls Bells, Very, Luna Ascari, Harry, Hayden, Statistic King, and Liverpool fan. So we've only got 2 drivers making it into Q3 on the soft compound. Now, strategy is a key thing in Abu Dhabi. So there we go, confirmation of the eliminated drivers. Jay Hartnell, the driver, Cavu, Safdar and Lepi are out. No drivers during that 15-minute session have picked up picking up grid penalties prior to the race. So we go on to Q3. So here we go with Q3. Each driver will be given an extra set of the soft compounds to at least give them an opportunity to complete a run in Q3 as opposed to sitting in the garage for the whole session. And just like in Q2, it seems though Dixon will be the first driver to exit the pits. He's determined to get track position. There he is as well. Behind him is the second Mercedes of Hayden. Then we've got Luna Ascari. Then Harry, Liverpool fan. We mentioned earlier he's on a qualifying 3 ban, which explains why he's retiring from the session. So he'll start 10th on the grid, no matter what happens. We've got a Haas making his way out onto the circuit. That'll be Santi. Big Balls Bells, Scrace, and Statistic King are still in the pits. We'll say that. Scrace is making his way out onto the circuit now. Now, when will Big Balls Bells and Statistic King decide to go? Will they go when there is a gap in the traffic? Or will they decide to head out as we speak? We'll go back to Dixon as he's the furthest round the circuit. I mean, it is a long lap here, is the Yas Marina circuit. Dixon crossing line to start his flying lap. And whilst I say that, Yas Marina apparently broke ground in May 2007 and was opened in October 2009. It's a 5.5 kilometre circuit for... Oh, and Dixon spins as I speak. Now, he's got to be careful not to return to the track into the path of other drivers. He's got going again. And so he wisely moves out of the way to let Hayden through. So to saying about the Abu Dhabi racetrack, it's a 5.5 kilometre circuit. It's a 55 lap event for Formula 1, but for here it's a 50% race distance, so we are doing 28 laps instead of 55. Go back to Very, who's now ahead of the queue. What's his lap time in Sector 2 going to be? He needs to be at the very minimum in the high 56s. It's a 56.9 through Sector 2. Riding the curves, not taking too much. It's very easy to have your lap invalidated at that part of the racetrack. Big Balls Bells is out on the circuit now. Statistic in the only driver in the pits, along with Liverpool fan, who won't be taking part in Q3. Very looking to cross over the line. It's a 34.1 for him. Next up is Hayden. In the Mercedes, it's a 34.9. Ascari over the line as well. It's a 34.7 for her. Next up is Dixon, who will be posting a time of some sort. That's not a representative one, so he'll go again. Santi's had his lap invalidated, but Harry's crossed over the line to go to provisional pole position on a 33.8. So it's advantage Harry at this point. Strace is next up for AlphaTauri. He runs wide through turn 17 and goes too far wide at turn 18, and that will be his lap invalidated. Come away from him. This is Big Balls Bells. And Statistic King has made his way out onto the circuit. Big Balls Bells looking for a good time here. Currently in the championship. Third, he is on 103 points, 137 points off the top. So it's safe to say that Big Balls Bells is out of the running for the title. But he still wants to be winning races. But here is the Iranian. Got a kick of overspin. But he still goes to provisional pole position by a tenth of a second from Harry. Now Dixon has had his lap being validated, so he'll need to go again. Now here's Grace taking the shorter route round the back straight. 57.2 through sector 2. It's not the fastest we've seen by that point. He's running low on ERS anyway. He's gone in too deep through turn 14. Now, will he pit in this lap? Or will he go on to complete this lap and then come back in shortly after? Sister King has started his flying lap. Santi going 6th fastest on a 35.0. Scrapes over the line, posting a 34.5, puts him 4th. It's a good time that from Scrace. We'll go to Statistic King, who's the only driver other than Liverpool fan who is banned from Q3 to set a time. I think he may be on a prep lap actually, is Statistic King. So come away from him. Santi will be coming back into the pits, as will Scrace. Big Bells already in the pits as we speak. 5 minutes to go. Next advantage, Big Bells, who is on provisional pole position by a 1/10 of a second. You can see a Mercedes making his way out onto the racetrack. That will be Hayden. So Big Bells 1/10 of a second quicker than Harry. Very is in 3rd place on a 34.1. 4/10 ahead of Scrace, with Luna Ascari in 5th position on a 34.7. And Statistic King making his way back into the pits. Now the lap record for Formula 1, the race lap record is a 1 minute 39.2. I'm trying to remember what the track record is. Should have been set in, I think it was either in 2020. Now the pole position time for the 2020 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix that was set by Max Verstappen was a 1 minute 35.2. We compare that with Big Balls Bells' time. It's quite a chunk. Hayden has started what probably will be his last flying lap. 6th fastest at the moment, so he's got a lot of time to find. It's a 16.9 through sector 1. He's 100th off from where he was before. Rear wing open on the first of the back straights. The chicane he comes. The second DRS zone he's entering. 56.8, nearly 4/10 up from his previous best time at that point. So could potentially go in front of Luna Ascari and Scrace. He's got more time to find in the last sector of the lap. Now this is probably the most important sector of the lap to absolutely nail. Very nice over the curves there. 2 more corners to negotiate. Takes a wide enough line. What was it like through turn 21? And it's going to be a 34.1 that puts him 4th. 0.8 faster than he was last time around. Only 0.08 of a second away from Berry as well. Dixon is close to completing probably his last flying lap. Is this going to put him on pole? It's a 33.7 to beat. He does beat it. It's a 33.6. So Dixon on provisional pole position by a tenth of a second with a minute and a half remaining of Q3. Statistic King started his flying lap now. Santi's also started his last flying lap. So we're waiting to see, is Hayden on another flying lap? No, he's not. So we'll go back to Statistic King as he'll be the next driver to cross over the start-finish line to complete his last flying lap. I'm just looking at other times actually for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The 2019 pole position time was a 1 minute 34.7. And for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix 2018, it was a 34.7 as well. And the driver who set that pole position time of 1 minute 34.779 in 2019, that would be Lewis Hamilton. Back to the action, Statistic King, who's yet to post a time in Q3. He's got some traffic, I think, coming up very shortly, but he should be okay. 23.17, 4 more corners to negotiate. Turn 18, here he comes. Then 19. There's a Renault ahead of him, but I'm sure it's out of harm's way. He'll be desperate to get over the line before the checkered flag falls. Dixon goes even faster than before. It's a 32.8 for him. So that's 0.8 of a second quicker than he did so last time around. So Dixon goes 9 tenths clear of everyone else with his lap time. Statistic King goes 6th fastest on a 34.5. Santi 8th on a 34.6. Who's going to be the next driver to post a time? It'll be Big Balls Bells. Can he come close to Dixon's spellbinding time? It's a 56.6. Over a tenth up. Sector 3 is probably the most important sector of the lap. Because Sector 1 is very, very short. And Sector 2 is dominated by those straights. Sector 3, for me, is what counts the most. Oh, he's overdone it. Big Boss Bell's pushing too hard, and that's his lap done there. So we go to Harry. We didn't see what his sector times were like. I'd like to think he's on a faster run than before in the Red Bull. Coming through the last corner now. He won't go to pole position. He posts a 33.3, but puts him second. Scrace goes up to 6th on a 34.4. Then it's the McLaren and Lewis Sky goes 4th fastest on a 34.0. Great lap by her. Very next for Renault. He goes up to 4th place ahead of Luna Ascari. 14, sorry, over 200 of a second away from 3rd place for Very. Statistic King is not on another fast lap. So Dixon is on pole position for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix by half a second from Harry, who will line up alongside him. Then it's Big Bob Bells in 3rd ahead of Very. Ascari, a brilliant 5th for her, ahead of Hayden in the 2nd Mercedes in 6th. Scrace is 7th alongside Statistic King in 8th. Santic is 9th, and Liverpool fan with his Q3 ban will start 10th on the grid. But at least, from my memory, he can start on the medium compound. So an interesting session there for Dixon. Well, he's already won 9 times this season. Will it be 10 from 13 in Abu Dhabi? So confirmation of the Q3 results. Dixon on pole over Harry in 2nd. Big Boss Bells and Very will line up on row 2 next to each other. Lewis Ascari and Hayden on row 3, followed by Scrace and Statistic King on row 4. Santi and Liverpool fan will make up row 5. No drivers picking up grid penalties from that last section, last session. So I'm muddling up on my words today. But that's all for qualifying. Now we go on to the race in a few moments' time. It doesn't appear we have any more drivers joining the 16 drivers for this race. So it's just as you were when qualifying begun. So we're less than 30 seconds away from the formation lap here at the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi. The drivers are just about completing their race and fuel strategies, and the formation lap will begin. And just a reminder that Dixon has a 94-point lead in the championship going into this race over Santi in second on 146. That's his closest title rival. And now we go on to the formation lap and a chance to see who is starting on what. Now, the only drivers in the top 10 starting on the softs are Scrace and Santi. Cavu and Safdar also starting on the softs. The rest are all starting on the mediums. Now, a driver who will be gunning for points today is the driver R28, who's yet to pick up a point this season. Now, Harry, who picked up a second place finish in Azerbaijan 2 races ago. He's gone in for a race victory here today. But it won't be easy with Dixon ahead of him. If he doesn't have any chance, he needs to get off the line very, very well, or at least stay within DRS range. So Dixon coming through the last sector of the lap, warming up his tyres. As the sun falls at the Yas Marina circuit, the season isn't over. We are only on round 13 of the championship. The next round of the championship will be at Suzuka in Japan in a week's time. And then after Japan, we've got Monaco, then Austria, Silverstone, Sochi, and then Austin in Texas for round 19, Brazil at Interlagos. Then it's to China for the penultimate round, and then the final race of the season will be in Mexico on the 25th of July. Over a week after the release of F1 2021, I'm sure a lot of these drivers will be anticipating that game itself. It should prove to be a thriller. Well, Dixon's on the grid now. We're just waiting for those 5 red lights to come on. Here we go. Lights out, and away we go. Dixon gets off the line cleanly, as does Harry in second, but not a good start for Big Boss Bowles, who's getting swamped by the Renault and the McLaren, and the Renault of Very gets up into 3rd position there. So great start there from Very. Dixon under pressure from the Red Bull of Harry, who thinks about maybe making a lunge down into turns 5 and 6, but stays in second. Very in 3rd place, but it's Big Boss Bowles in 4th. Ascari has got herself up to 5th. And Hayden in 6th place, followed by Scrace, Statistic King, Santi, and Jay Hartnell rounding out the top 10. We've got a tussle between the Ferrari and the McLaren. That's Cavu, who's dropping down places and dropping to the back of the field. Other than that, the field seems to be behaving themselves around the first half of the opening lap. We've got a move here between Ascari in the McLaren and the Mercedes of Hayden, who tries to get the move done on her, which he does, and Hayden barges his way through and up into 5th place he goes. So Hayden puts his Mercedes up into P5, and Dixon seems to be beginning to pull away from the Red Bull of Harry. And then Ascari looking to fend off the Alfa Romeo of Statistic King. Now remember, the majority of the drivers starting this race on the mediums, so those on the softs may have some form of advantage in the opening few laps. Scrace is the highest of those who have started on the softs in 8th position, looking to give Statistic King a hard time. You can't quite do so there in the last part of the lap. Coming over the line at the end of lap 1, we may experience a glitch that we usually see when the drivers do complete the first lap. But it seems to me that, yeah, we are experiencing the glitch. I thought we may not do on this occasion. It's saying that DRS is enabled, but it's not yet. It's just one of those glitches. So we are, in fact, on lap 2. There's no DRS for the first 2 laps of the race. So I want to go over to the driver who's actually in the pits for Ferrari. Dixon has already passed the first sector, with Harry giving chase. And it seems as though that Dixon has used up a lot of his ERS already in comparison to Harry. Probably to break out of that DRS window. There is Strace in the AlphaTauri. And we've got a move here from Jay Hartnell, who tries to get by Safdar into 10th place. Oh, he's broken his front wing. Oh, he got too close to the Renault. He's broken his front wing, so that's the second of the Ferraris needing some remedy. Oh, he's going to need to make up a lot of ground from that. Perhaps hope for a safety car if he's got any chance of salvaging a points finish from this. So Dixon coming round to complete the second lap. Dixon's still 7/10 adrift, so should he stay within that margin behind him by the time they do get to the first detection point of the lap, you can use the DRS by the time they get onto the first back straight. Jay Hartnell in the pits for Ferrari. What tyres is he going to go on? His teammate, the driver's gone onto a set of the medium compound, but Jay Hartnell's going on to a set of the hard compound, so he's going to go on a longer second stint, a long second stint. And Harry has got DRS to close in and have a go on Dixon at the end of this back straight. He's very close to him, but not close enough to have a go. But he's got a second bite at it in the second DRS zone. So they are coming through now. So Harry, pulling into the slipstream of the Mercedes, goes to the outside, coming into turn 11, but Dixon shuts the door ahead of him. So Dixon gets back into the lead for the time being at least. Further behind we've got Statistic King moving in front of Scrace for 7th position. I think Scrace got ahead of him initially, but Statistic King fought back and got back the position. So Jay Hartnell rejoining behind his teammate, who's on the mediums. Jay Hartnell on the hard tyres. Both of those two will be hoping for a safety car at some point in this race to recover the lost ground. So Dixon crossing over the line still in front, but Harry, I can't imagine, will refuse to leave him alone at this point. Now, in terms of strategy, we are expecting a one-stop race. Those starting on the mediums are expected to go onto the hards, providing they don't need front wing damage or make an early pit stop because of damage. And Harry will be looking to make a move very, very shortly, riding on board with the Red Bull. It was about this distance behind him on the previous lap. How close will he be this time around? Stays behind the Mercedes. You may have to catch him by surprise. He needs to get into the lead, but that, if he starts squabbling with him, that will take more life out of the tyres. Santi getting ahead of Statistic King. Oh, it seems to be bunching up behind, actually, as I think Strace made a mistake. Or whilst he was battling with Sister King, and it allowed Santi to make a double overtake and get back through. So Santi moving up into 7th position, the driver who is 2nd in the championship. We've got Safdar who's right behind. Strace gets back through into 7th position. Santi down to 8th place. Safdar running 9th now. Sister King down to 10th. Levolfan, Lepi, Cavu and Night Shadow right behind. So Dixon still keeping hold of the lead. Doesn't want to be exceeding track limits too many times, which is very easy to do on the Yas Marina circuit. Dixon crossing line to begin lap 5 with a margin of half a second over Harry, and Very keeping in touch with them in 3rd place. So Sister King getting by Safdar. I think he's in the pits actually to get rid of those soft tyres. He's been on 4 laps plus the laps he did his qualifying lap time, but he needs a new front wing, so maybe that's because of the kerfuffle that was going on at the first chicane at the end of the back straight. He's already got a lot of ground to make up. Now Harry, I think this is the closest he's been to Dixon since the start, or when DRS was enabled. He goes to the outside as they approach turn 8. Gets a good exit out of 9, and then through the left-hand kink of 10 they go. DRS is open on the Red Bull. I think we're going to see a change of lead here. Harry going to the outside, but Dixon breaks later into 11. And Dixon stays in the lead. Dixon very late on the brakes. He's got more confidence on the brakes, actually, than Harry is. Santi's still behind Strace. You can see a move as Lepi loses ground as Cavu goes past the Alfa Romeo and up into 11th place. Strace gets the first penalty of the race. It's 3 seconds for exceeding track limits. He won't want to be getting too many of those when it comes to the final classification at the end of the race. Harry's got a great chance to overtake Dixon. Dixon will be thinking about the championship as well, with Santi down the order. I'm just thinking who's got the fastest lap at this point. It's Harry. So with Dixon getting 25 points and Santi getting only 4, the gap in the championship would extend to 115 points going into the next race in Japan in a week's time. Now Harry will get into the slipstream, uses DRS again. He's got slightly more ERS left in there to the Mercedes. I think he's going to need to go to the outside on this occasion. I was going to say the inside, but was that the best way round? Not too sure. He's going to try and complete a switchback on the Mercedes. He takes a bit too much curve, but Harry gets too much wheel spin on the exit by riding over the bump. The driver gets a time penalty for exceeding track limits, but Harry's going to the outside of the Mercedes. I think that's him through into the lead as they come into turn 11. But Dixon fights back. But Harry has more momentum and goes into the lead on lap 6. So Harry was waiting for that move to be done and has got through into the lead. Will Dixon respond to that? Further behind, we've got Santi, who's now ahead of Strace and up into 7th place. So Sister King still in front of Liverpool fan. Lepi getting back through on Cavu for 11th. Night Shadow waiting for an opportunity to get ahead of those guys. Approaching the quarter mark of this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Dixon will have nearly as much ERS as Harry will do. So they're coming through the chicane of 5 and 6. And we know how well Dixon can brake into turn 8 and 11. He gets that DRS open. He's too far back to have a go. Safdar with a new fastest lap. Someone's had a moment down at the first chicane. And it's Strace. So Strace's gone for a spin. No damage to the car. Oh, he's spun again, look. So he's dropped back a lot of positions there. Jay Hartnell in the pits for Ferrari. He's going on to a set of the soft tyres. So clearly he wants to not take too much life out of the hard tyres that he was setting lap times on, and go into a set of softs to perhaps stay on the lead lap. We'll wait and see. And someone's gone off at set to 2 now. It's Scrace again, pushing way too hard. I hope that wasn't intentional. Safdar's coming up behind him in 14th, who has the fastest up of the race so far. Liverpool fan down to 10th place, as Statistic King and Leppy have got by him. And we've got, and Night Shadow going to the outside. Oh, surely can't keep that minute. No way, no. 3 second time penalty for exceeding track limits. He's about to lose another position to the McLaren. And he's got another 3 seconds left. So it's just taking the mickey now, is Night Shadow. Not willing to give up the position. Cafu going to the inside. It's the 2. Oh, the bone wheels. Cafu should get through here. But I don't think Night Shadow is going to give up the position by any stretch. But he has to on the start-finish straight. So Cafu going up into 11th place. Night Shadow having to carry that time penalty. Grace is in the pits for AlphaTauri, and perhaps the fact he's been on the soft tyres for as long as I can remember. He's coming into the pits now to get either the mediums or the hard tyres fitted onto that AlphaTauri. It'll be the mediums. Back to the battle for the lead. Dixon got a poor exit out of turn 9. They won't be able to get moved on there. Big Boss Bell's looking to get an overtake completed on Very. Stays behind him for a little bit longer. The Alfa Romeo's going head to head as Leppy got ahead of Statistic King on the previous lap. Now Statistic King wants P8 back, going in his favour. To the outside he goes, rear wing open, and Leppy concedes on that occasion. And Harry gets a time penalty now, exceeding track limits too many times, which is good news for Dixon. And the pit window is open for those who have started on the medium compound. Santi's in the pits for Haas. He's gone 8 laps on the soft tyres. Will he go onto the mediums or will he go onto the hards? The Racing Point crew coming out with a set of soft tyres ready for one of their drivers. That will be for Liverpool fan. But Santi is heading back out on circuit in what looks like 11th position, because Safdar's just gone through. So Liverpool fan rejoins on a set of softs. Cafu rejoins on a set of the mediums. Dixon looking to get through. Jay Hartnell with a new fastest lap for Ferrari. Hayden getting in front of Lunascari. The 2 banging wheels there a little bit. No damage done to either car, but Hayden's got has found his way through and up into 5th place. Leppy getting back ahead of Statistic King, this time for 7th. Dixon in 2nd place behind the Red Bull. Very nearly losing it out of turn 21. Big Balls Bells in the pits for Racing Point. I imagine he's going to go onto the hard tyres for the final stint, is he? Now he's going onto a set of the soft compound, so he's going on a more aggressive strategy to others. Leppy goes through. Statistic King in the pits as well. Here is Night Shadow. Now, can the Racing Point get out in front of the Williams? I don't think he can, you know. We'll have a look. Or it might do if he's lucky. In fact, the Racing Point does get out in front of the Williams. So it's a good pit stop there for Big Balls Bells, who can go after Leppy, who's yet to stop in this race. And Statistic King... Oh, someone's had a spin. It's Safdar who spun on the exit of turn 3. Now, he's got to be careful here. There are cars coming through. I think there's Cavu who's... Oh, he's been disqualified as Safdar, pointing the wrong way. So Safdar's race is over. Out of the race he goes. He becomes the first retirement. Now the top 6 have yet to pit in this race so far. When will Dixon choose to pit in? We are now on lap 10. Now what about Big Balls Bells? Because surely they must be thinking about the times that he'll be setting at the moment. He's stopped behind Leppy, who's yet to stop. It's a hard part of the racetrack to complete an overtake on, so it could be that he waits until the back straight to get an overtake completed. Leppy decides to stay out on his mediums. Big Balls Bells will be determined to get through as Hayden pits for Mercedes, going on to a set of the soft tyres and needing a new front wing, so perhaps he did sustain damage from the contact with Ascari. Gets out in front of the Williams of Night Shadow, who pits in, going on to another set of the medium compound, so drivers seem to be wanting to do the two-stopper. Well, some of them anyway. The top 5 are still yet to pit, who have started on the medium compound. Big Balls Bells determined to get on with it on his set of soft tyres. DRS wide open. He'll pull away from the Alfa Romeo before they get to turn 8. Can he pull clear out of turn 9? The answer is yes. And away he goes. And he's got some track position ahead of him, 7.5 seconds behind Ascari, who's yet to stop. Hayden getting through on the driver on his soft compound. Hayden desperate for a good result here. He's failed to finish in the last 2 events. Now the driver with DRS being overtaken by Statistic King, who's determined to go round the outside of Hayden. This would be a fantastic move if he could pull it off, but not quite so. So he was able to get by the Ferrari, but not the Mercedes. The two nearly banging wheels there, and Hayden just about stays in front on this occasion. Ascari in the pits now for McLaren. What strategy is she going to go on? That looks like a set of hard tyres waiting for her. It is the set of the hard, so she's going for a more conservative strategy than the others. Ascari having a fine race so far. She'll rejoin behind Santi, but she will get out in front of Liverpool fan. Now Santi's been on the mediums for 2 laps, so it may take some time for Ascari to get some temperature into those hard tyres. He is ahead of Liverpool fan at least anyway, who's on soft tyres that will be falling off the cliff soon. And Dixon is in front of Harry now. So Dixon on the road is back into the lead ahead of Harry. Now, will that prompt Harry to go into the pits and put a new set of tyres on? I think if he's going to pit, it's going to be a set of the hard compound. At least he's got an opportunity to have a look and decide what Dixon chooses to do. Because if Dixon's not pitting in this lap, Harry may take the opportunity to pit and try to complete an undercut. Both of them stay out. Now what about Very? What does he decide to do? He stays out as well. Big Balls Bells is in 4th place on the set of the soft tyres, but he will be needing to pit in again before the end, that's for sure. Leppy's has picked up a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits too many times. There is Ascari catching up to the back of Santi, who is on the mediums, but Santi will be likely to pit again. Ascari won't need to pit again, and she probably won't pit again before the end of the race. It is Big Balls Bells in 4th. 3rd place in the championship at the moment. And Harry looking to try and get back through on Dixon. Neither of these two have pitted yet. If they were to pit now, they would be joined behind Big Balls Bells, but they would be on much fresher tyres, with Big Balls Bells needing to pit in again. And the fact that Harry's remaining in DRS range of Dixon, it's allowing him to pull away from Very, which I think explains why he's deciding to stay out. And the driver's coming through the penultimate turn, and both of them carry on for another lap. Perhaps both drivers are thinking about going on to the soft compound later on in the race. There's still life left in those mediums, to be said, but they will be falling away at this point. Big Balls Bells has done what is now 3 laps on his softs, so he's still got another 3 or 4 laps left in those. Leppy coming into the pits from 5th position, allowing Santi and Ascari through into 5th and 6th. Now Leppy's taking those tyres longer than the others. We're going on to a set of the hard compound tyres. And out he goes. He should rejoin ahead of the Ferrari of the driver. He's behind the driver, but can he get out in front of Cavu? The answer is no. But he does get out in front of Night Shadow, so Leppy's got some ground to make up actually. He hasn't exactly got track position. He needs to get by 2 cars really. There's Big Balls Bells with track position at the moment. No one close to him actually. 17 seconds in front of Santi. Hayden gets a time penalty for exceeding track limits. Harry's starting to fall behind Dixon now. Will he consider pitting in this lap? If he was to pit, he would rejoin behind. Or when someone's had a moment, it looks like Hayden's gone off somewhere, and he has. He's had a moment in the Mercedes. And he's got damage to the right-hand side of his front wing, so he will need to pit in for a front wing replacement. That's really bad news for him. He's not had the best of luck lately. Big Balls Bells 6 seconds now behind Very, and putting in some really good times. So if Harry was to stop now, he would rejoin ahead of Santi, I believe. You see the yellow flags there. I think that's because of Hayden's slowing Mercedes, just getting out of the way of other drivers. Now, will he carry on when he pits in? Or will he decide to call it quits and just call it a day because he's out of the points now? As Big Balls Bells continuing to set some really strong pace at the moment. Just over 5 seconds behind Very, so he's only a matter of time before he decides to come in. And Hayden is in the pits and out of the race. He was doing well up until he had the contact with Ascari, and then a spin on the exit of turn 9 has contributed to his exit. Santi is over 18 seconds behind Big Balls Bells, so if Big Balls Bells was to pit, he would rejoin probably in 8th place, to be honest with you, so he needs to continue setting some good laps before he comes in for his last stop. Pushing ever so hard at the moment. He doesn't need to pit in yet. If a safety car was to come out, that would favour him. The gap between Dixon and Harry, 1.7 seconds, so Harry pretty much losing ground now to the leader. And the closest battle we've got out on the circuit is between Cavu and Night Shadow for the final point in 10th. Going through sector 3, there's the driver ahead of him. Now looking at who's got what on the time penalties, Harry, Liverpool fan, the driver, Cavu and Leppy have got 3 seconds each. Night Shadow and under Scrace have got 9 seconds each. The others don't have time penalties at all. So the gap between Very and Big Balls Bells now down to 3.5 seconds. So I think once Big Balls Bells has got probably to within a second of him, he will need to consider pitting in to put a set of the medium compounds on for the last stint of the race. He also has to think about what the leaders are also doing, because I can't imagine the leaders will... Oh, someone's crashed out. Well, no, he's not crashed out. Jay Hartnell's in the pits again for Ferrari, and he's calling it a day as well. So he's the third driver to pull out of this one. He's not crashed out. He's entered the pits and retired the session from there. I'm just looking to see if Big Balls Bells can close in on Very in front. If he's lucky, he may be able to get within DRS range. In fact, the Renault's come into the pits. I think that will favour Big Balls Bells a lot, actually, because he can carry on. And Harry's in the pits as well for Red Bull, who's going on to a set of the soft compound tyres. Now that's interesting. He's got to do 12 laps on those. And Very is doing the same. Now both of them will rejoin ahead of Santi. There's the Renault coming out of the pits there. And both of them will rejoin in third and fourth. And someone else has had a moment in sector 3. It's Leppy, who's gone for a spin. He's wrecked his front wing. He needs to come into the pits. Now, will he decide to call it quits as well? Yeah, he's got a 5-second time penalty in the pit. I think that's a sign of frustration. So Leppy into the pits. He's had a frustrating race again. Big Balls Bells is now in second place, 6.9 seconds off the lead. So he's got some track position to use before he comes in for his last pit stop. Because there's no way he'll make it to the end on the soft tyres. He will need to pit in again. If he is going to pit in again, will he decide to go on to a set of another set of the soft compound tyres? He's pitting in now. I would think he's going to go on to a set of the mediums to play it safe, unless he's out of mediums. Dixon's in the pits for Mercedes, and whilst I'm saying that, Harry's got another 3 seconds of time penalty added for exceeding track limits. So whilst he'll go through into the lead on the road, he will not most certainly keep hold of the race win. Not with 6 seconds of time penalty to be added. Big Balls Bells rejoins on a set of the mediums. Now that looks more like the sensible choice for later on. And gets out in front of Santi. Muscari doing a fine job in 6th place. She doesn't need to worry about cars behind. She just needs to make sure she keeps her car on the racetrack. So the gap between Harry and Dixon is 2.6 seconds, but Dixon does not need to win on the track. He just needs to stay within 6 seconds of him, stay in front of the others, and that will be his 10th victory of the season. Now the driver in the pits, well, he was in the pits, he's exited the pits now, rejoins in 12th place. Muscari now just inside a second of Santi, whose mediums will, I can imagine, not fall off the cliff, will be coming into their window where they're beginning to fall away, which will play into the hands of Ascari, who's on the hard tyres. I think Ascari is going to have the advantage, actually, in terms of tyres come the end of the race. Harry has posted a new fastest lap of a 36.5. Jim Dixon will try and get that point. We know Big Balls Bells will be going to the end of the race on the mediums, but the problem is for the leaders, how they'll be able to, well, last the distance on their soft compounds. I think it's going to be a very, very tough ask. They're going to have to manage them very, very well. So Sister King's in the pits for Alfa Romeo to go onto a set of the medium compound. And he'll rejoin behind Liverpool fan in 11th place. Dixon on a charge in the Mercedes. He's determined to perhaps try and get the fastest up of the race, take that away from Harry. Now with Dixon in second and Santi in fifth, or I say Dixon in second and Santi in fifth. If Dixon was to win, here we have 25 points. Santi would get, well, say only 10. He's now just behind. He's behind Ascari. He's got ahead of him. So Ascari continuing a brilliant race to put her McLaren up into fifth place. She's been very impressive. She had her coming together with Hayden, but luckily came away without damage. Now with that overtake done, can she pull out of DRS range and go after Big Balls Bells and maybe even the leaders? And talking of which of the leaders, Harry will be... She's got that 6 second time penalty to have as well. So Ascari could maybe go to the podium if she's lucky enough. Dixon's posted a new fastest lap. He's now within 4/10 of him, so he'll most definitely get DRS the next time these two go onto the back straight. Now, will Harry play it defensive here? It may be wise not to, because Very's another 5 seconds behind him, and with Harry serving that 6 seconds, he may want to manage his tyres towards the end. He's still in front of Dixon at this point. Grace is in the pits for AlphaTauri, presumably to go onto a set of the soft compound, I believe. Yeah, he is. But back to the battle for the lead as Dixon in the slipstream, DRS open. He won't have a go, doesn't need to have a go. And stays behind the Red Bull for now. Ascari remaining in front of Santi. Santi won't be close enough to have a go, I don't think. On the second back straight where the DRS zone is. And Ascari stays in front. Dixon is on soft tyres that have done a lap less than Harry. And Very is closing in whilst these two are squabbling, so Very could still be in play for the race win. And Big Balls Bells may not be quick at this point, but in 4 or 5 laps time he most certainly will be. He most certainly will be quicker than Very, Dixon and Harry. As Santi comes into the pit to get rid of those medium tyres, clearly not happy on those. He probably wants to try and get the fastest lap. Night Shadow's about to go through and up into 6th position. Kavoo's in the pits as well. I think he's left the session actually, so the car will be controlled by the AI. So if he wasn't going to take part the remainder of the session, he should be retiring. We'll go back to the battle for the leaders. Dixon round the outside of Harry to take back the lead of the race, and he's done it there. So Dixon takes back the lead of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix with 8 laps remaining. Harry just did not have an answer, just did not have enough of a defence to fend off the Mercedes on this occasion. I suppose if he stays within DRS range, he may be able to get his own back on him. So he's got to think about Very behind, because Very is over 4.5 seconds behind. Kavoo's back in the session now, so he'll take back control of his McLaren. Now Very is in 3rd place on the road anyway. As it stands, he would go up to 2nd with Harry's time penalty added. Big Balls Bells another 3 seconds behind in 4th position. Now Luna Ascari in 5th position. That's probably the best you can manage. I think what she's got to watch out for there is Santi, who is 4 seconds behind Night Shadow, but Santi is on the better tyres at this point, so she'll need to watch her mirrors. Having said that, once Santi does get by Shadow, he'll have another 14-15 seconds in terms of ground to make up. So just waiting for the intervals to update themselves completely. Harry's still in second on the road. Berry would go to second with the time penalties added. And Leffy's gone for a spin on the exit of turn 1. He's damaged his front wing. He's had a really poor race, to be honest with you. He's carried on his way, but he will need to come back into the pits. And please, please, please do not crash the car intentionally. And, oh, Leffy's got a 10-second time penalty corner cut in as well. That's just signs of frustration from him. And his time penalty count is now 24 seconds. So I'd imagine he'll come back into the pits and retire, because he's not going to get anything out of this race now. His chances of points are well and truly gone. Night Shadow in the pits for the second time in the Williams. Doesn't need to be putting the limiter on that early. He's in the pits now. The assistant can go through, as does the driver. The Scrace will probably go through as well. Night Shadow out on his way. He might get out in front of the AlphaTauri, actually. Yeah, he will. So Night Shadow rejoins in 10th place, ahead of Scrace. Big Balls Bowles 2.1 seconds behind Very as he starts to close in. Closing in sector by sector. There's an instant sector 3. It's Leppy again. Yeah, he's just cruising round now, making his way into the pits. He may as well retire the car, to be honest with you. He doesn't intervene with the race anymore. Yeah, he's out of the race. So Leppy becomes the 4th driver to retire from this event, leaving only 12 cars circulating. So Dixon in the lead, Santi in 6th place. Dixon has the fastest lap point as well, so Dixon would take 26 points on this race. Santi getting only 8. The lead would increase to 112 points going into the next round of the championship at Suzuka in Japan in a week's time. 1.6 seconds. The gap has come down to now between Very and Big Balls Bowles. So Very's tyres are beginning to fall off at this point. With 5 laps remaining, Big Balls Bowles will be in prime position to pounce. And in these remaining few laps, I'd imagine Harry's tyres will start falling away. Luna Ascari 16 seconds off Big Balls Bowles. She's been on the hard tyres for 11 laps. I think she's probably thinking about just finishing in 5th, to be honest with you. Santi's 14 seconds behind. So all Luna Ascari needs to do is just keep the car on the track, and that's it. And Ish saying hello. Hello there, Ish. How are you? How are you enjoying the race so far? How are you enjoying the stream and hope you're enjoying the race overall? So the gap now between Very and Big Balls Bowles is down to 1.3 seconds. So Big Balls Bowles is very close to getting DRS. The driver gets another 3 seconds worth of time penalty. That takes his tally to 6. As it stands, he would keep hold of 9th position because of those behind him with time penalties. Big Balls Bowles now within a second, so he's got a good opportunity to use that DRS on the back straight as they're going through now. Oh, we got a kick of overspin, or wheel spin I should say, as he got down the power. Rear wing opens. Coming down to turn 8. Definitely too far back to have a go. Now, I don't know if he's within DRS range to use the DRS on the back straight, or he may be actually. Yes, he is. So he'll use it for a second time to close in. Harry's time penalty would now drop into 4 behind Very and Big Balls Bells. Now, looking at Big Balls Bells' points total, he would close in on Santi. He would get 15 points in this race, Santi getting only 8. And Cavu's out. So Cavu in the pits for McLaren, and he's calling it a day as well. So not to worry about the yellow flags, that will just be Cavu retiring. Big Balls Bells, he's closer to Very than he was on the previous lap. Takes a better line through there. Got a kick of oversteer as he got down on the power. DRS open. Very goes defensive to the inside. Big Balls Bells goes to the inside this time. Does he get the move done? I think Very's going to have DRS on this occasion, so these two are going to go side by side down the back straight here. Very's going to have DRS, but I think he's going to be too far back to have a go on this occasion. No, Big Balls Bells is through, so Big Balls Bells goes up into 3rd place, which will be 2nd once Harry's time penalty has been applied. So Big Balls Bells will go up to 2nd in the race. So in terms of the fight between him and Santi for runners-up in the driver's standings, the gap will be down to... Let's have a look on the championship total at the moment. It was 43 points before this race. It would now be down to 33. So Very losing the position there. Big Balls Bells on fire at the moment. We're now on the penultimate lap of the race. Statistic King get in front of the driver for 8th place. The next man up from him is Liverpool fan, who has 3 seconds worth. So if Statistic King can get to within 3 seconds of Liverpool fan, that'll be him moving up a position. Although Liverpool fans is... Oh, and he got a tap from behind by the driver. That was naughty, that, from the driver. Braking far too late into turn 17. I think he's got away with it without damage. Now the driver's got to be careful because he's got Night Shadow closing him down as well. He's on younger soft tyres, although Night Shadow is carrying a time penalty that is 3 seconds more than the driver. So Statistic King staying in front. And the driver getting wheel spin as he exited turn 7. Night Shadow waiting to pounce. The driver will be too far back to have a go on Statistic King on this occasion. We're now on the final lap of the race. Dixon on course for victory once again, continuing his dominance in this championship. Harry getting another 3 seconds of time penalty for exceeding track limits. That's 9 seconds. So I'll drop into 4th, but no lower. Luna Scari is another 20 seconds behind. Oh, and Harry spun! Harry is spun on the exit of turn 6. He loses 2nd and 3rd places on the road. He was going to lose them anyway at the flag, but I'm sure he didn't want to end his race the way he's about to. So Dixon simply been untroubled since he got by Harry take back the lead. He's got a commanding lead over Big Boss Bells. He's certainly not going to have a victory like this being taken away from him. No time penalties applied to him throughout the race. He's got the victory he deserved. Coming towards the hotel. Glorious scenery here, this part of the racetrack. Dixon has got 2 more corners to negotiate. 1 more corner to go. Dixon round in the last corner to win the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix at Yas Marina. A superlative performance from the championship leader, who edges closer to that title with 9 races to go and with such a commanding lead in the title race. Big Boss Bells finishes 2nd. Very is 3rd. Harry is 4th. Luna Ascari will be 5th for McLaren. Santi's another 10 seconds behind her, but Ascari hasn't got any time penalties anyway, so it's been a brilliant drive from her to come home in P5. Santi will be 6th. He's still 2nd in the cycle race, but he loses more and more ground to Dixon. But let's be honest, he's not going to win the title. It's a matter of when the title is going to be sealed by Dixon. Liverpool fan will be 7th. Looking at the time penalties, he will keep hold of 7th because Sister King is too far behind to take that place. Night Shadow will be in 10th place behind the driver because Night Shadow's time penalty is 3 seconds more. Disgrace will cross over the line in 11th place and the last of the finishers. But it's victory for Dixon in Abu Dhabi. There was no sign of anyone stopping him. It wasn't the most dominant victory, but it didn't even need to be in order to take the top set once more. So the Brit collecting the winner's trophy and celebrating in style. So the final race result here in Abu Dhabi. Dixon is the winner. He takes his 10th victory from 13 races. Big Boss Bells is 2nd ahead of Very. Harry is 4th, even with the time penalty applied. Luna Ascari, brilliant 5th for her. Santi in 6th, had a Liverpool fan. Sister King in 8th, the driver in 9th, and Night Shadow taking the final point in 10th place. Disgrace was the last finisher in 11th. Cavu was out, along with Leppy, Jay Hartnell, Hayden, and Safdar. Well done to the driver, who picks up his first points of the season. He's off the mark. Well, that's all for today. In case you want to know where the Super Sunday F1 series in the Formula Racing League will be racing next, it will be at Suzuka in Japan in a week's time on the 30th of May, 7 p.m. British Summer Time. In terms of the championship lead, with Dixon taking victory and Santi only 6th, the gap is now increased. What was 94 points, now 112. So the championship for Dixon is edging ever nearer. I'm Tom Cairns, and I'll speak to you again soon when the Formula Racing League returns.